Good morning, everyone. My name is Raul Campillo. I'm proud to represent District 7 on the San Diego City Council, and in particular, welcome to the neighborhood of Linda Vista, where we are building that housing that will be affordable, that will be accessible, and right here next to where people go to school, go to church, and go to work. There's no other way to state it. We are in a housing crisis here in San Diego, and we are not alone in that. We know that this is a state issue. We know that it's a national issue. And we all know that the struggle to find a home is one that is all too familiar to thousands of San Diegans as inventory remains low and prices continue to go up. California, unfortunately, is one of the most housing insecure states of the country. And that's something that we are working every day to solve. It takes the coordinated work of many city employees, policymakers, community advocates. The people standing behind us today are working to successfully build and preserve affordable housing in our region. And here in San Diego, we're working hard to make sure that we are part of that solution, stemming the cycle that leads families to have to leave our city or our state, or even worse, end up homeless. Housing is critical to all facets of our life. We know that. We know that without quality and stable housing, we do not have the physical health and the mental health and the financial health that we need to see progress. And indeed, it's even deeper than that. Housing is where our memories are made, where our families are preserved, our traditions are preserved and started. Since taking office 2 years ago, along with Mayor Gloria, I and my council colleagues have been working diligently to build housing and build it fast, which includes making it easier to build additional dwelling units, streamlining the permit process, and developing city-owned property for new housing. Although not everyone may see eye to eye when it comes to the solution for the places of housing, one thing that everyone agrees on is that more housing is needed, and more so, more affordable housing is needed. And because it is a central tool for meeting all our needs, I've seen that we are promoting that sort of policy here in Linda Vista in this housing development that you see around us, which will be open in a few months' time for our constituents. Many of my constituents have been facing eviction, in fact, for no fault of their home. Most do not have the exorbitant amount of money or resources to make an unplanned move, and that's one reason that this pro-housing designation is so important to the resident San Diegans, including those that are right on the cusp of homelessness. With this designation, the city will be provided with additional funds for development, for housing, transportation, land preservation, so many projects that help us support reducing greenhouse gas emissions, increasing accessibility of affordable housing developments close to where people work. That is the key. We need housing close to where people work. And this allows us to build housing closer to where they work and create those communities and reducing commuter time. So right here in the Ulrich Street Apartments, we are able to build 95 new affordable rentals, including 10 studios for veterans who have previously experienced homelessness. And it's not just in this community. We've broken ground for the Shoreline Apartments complex in Grantville, which will provide 124 affordable units to the community once completed. We did this by finding unused city-owned land, and we are able to provide the community with what they've been asking for and what they need. We've been able to do this with all sorts of the city staff that Mayor Gloria has pointed out. I want to call out our new COO of the city, Eric Dargan, who's had a lot of history of success in this area back in Houston. We're so glad to bring his talent from Texas to California. You see so many departments around us: development services, planning, sustainability, economic development. I see government affairs here too. We couldn't do it with our people here in the city in the government affairs department, Mr. Adrian Granda, who's always on the phone making sure the state of California is listening to us as well. And we can't do it without leaders like former council member and now Speaker Pro Tem, Chris Ward. You know, the voters wonder what they're getting when they vote people like us in. And what they're getting is experienced leadership who listens to the city employees who are experts in what they've been doing to bring it right here to San Diego. You see those big budget surpluses from last year? You're wondering, where did all that money go? Well, the state of California, with the expertise and the leadership of Assemblymember Chris Ward, you know, they put a lot of those into these buckets that are now accessible because we got this designation. So you elected leaders who went and did the work. We have this designation. Now more of your tax dollars are going to be spent on the pressing issue of this decade and of our lifetimes, which is more housing and affordable housing in San Diego. So I want to thank all the leaders behind me. I want to thank the public for making sure that our leaders hear you loud and clear, the media for carrying this, because our voters want to know, what are you doing with all this money? We're building the housing that will be affordable and accessible to them right here in their neighborhoods so they can preserve their families, preserve their traditions, and make sure San Diego is the great city that it is. I want to thank also the state of California for this designation. We are the largest city with it. That is saying something. People often forget we're the second biggest city in California and the 8th biggest city in the country. Well, guess what? We are the biggest city that is pro-housing here in the state of California. Thank you very much.